During my best hit songs of 2016 list, before revealing that Starboy by The Weeknd featuring Daft Punk was my number 2 pick, I effectively made a comment about how some of these collaboration tracks weren't songs that should be held up as the golden standard of last year. Many cropped up on my worst hit songs of the year list in comparison to the number of collaborations that I thought deserved credit for being genuinely good songs. And that's one of the things about collaborations. Sometimes you're able to gauge how good a song's going to be when you see the names attached. There are a few examples when you believe a song is going to absolutely suck and they actually turn out to be pretty good. See Sucker for Pain for example. That one surprised me completely with how much I liked it. So when you learn of a song that features a former member of One Direction and Taylor Swift and learn that it's for the recently released 50 Shades Darker movie, all sorts of alarm bells should be ringing. The first thing I find myself doing is comparing this track to Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding and Earned It by The Weeknd, both attached to the aforementioned movie's older sibling, and both songs are fine in their own regard. Personally, I feel that on a production level, I Don't Want to Live Forever is better than the Ellie Goulding track. I feel that this track is far more controlled, less abrasive, and doesn't contain the issue that has plagued a lot of Ellie Goulding tracks circa 2014, deafening the listener to the point where they no longer have functioning ears. If anything, it falls more in line with Earned It. I think this track has a more demure and delicate nature, slightly brooding and sultry to a degree, although I think Earned It is the sexier of the two. I do find myself enjoying this track's instrumentation. The electronic drum beat has an off-kilter vibe going on, and I think it works nicely with the keyboard synths and backing vocalists. And although the production does get slightly heavier in the chorus in comparison to the verses, it's not so heavy that it blows out your ears, and the addition of the piano and synth bass is a nice little touch. But what about the lyrics? Zayn opens up verse 1 and leads into his bridge playing the pussy whipped fella who's still awake at God only knows o'clock, phone by his side waiting for the female counterpart to call him, and expresses his torment at not being with her, which only begs the question, why aren't you calling her, muffhead? Taylor's verse and bridge sees her in a similar light, whereas in her case she's left Zayn and is left wondering whether or not it was the right thing to do. The answer seems a little clearer in the bridge when she claims that she gave him something, I bet you did sweetheart, whereas he gave her nothing. Rather vague, don't you think? The last bridge leading into the final chorus is a back and forth with Zayn repeating his bridge whilst Taylor finally caves in and takes a taxi to Zayn's place, since rocking up in nice flashy places isn't quite cutting the mustard for her. The chorus is pretty much the song title repeated, with both parties bemoaning solitary existence without the other beside them. So on the whole, I find myself giving this track a passing grade. I will admit that I do think that Zayn's overuse of the falsetto gets pretty grating pretty quick, and he seriously needed to refrain from this throughout a lot of this song's running time, in particular the bridge, which is borderline unbearable. But as previously mentioned, I like the production, the lyrics whilst flawed aren't overtly terrible, and as a complete shock to the system, this is a song with Taylor Swift on it that I actually like. I find her performance to be both controlled and focused, and vocally this is one of her best performances. There's no way that I'll be putting myself through what is no doubt a garbage movie, and there's also no doubt in my mind that potentially the best thing about the movie is this track.